Okay. In a season that has been basically shit since late May, the Twins really found a way to top themselves. 13 to nothing to the White Sox. They almost got no hit. I was rooting for it to be a no hitter because they deserve the fucking embarrassment. Rise went and blew it by blooping one into right field with 2 outs. My head is still spinning from two things in this game. One is it's like the middle of the game. ROCCO starts pulling starters like it's a fucking preseason football game. And then even later in the game, he pulled Sanchez out. He's pulling starters out in the middle of a game. Forget like the competitive. Like we all know, anyone watching the game knew that game was over at 4-0. But he's pulling guys out in a game that is important. Like this was an important game. They're all important. They're now just a game ahead of the White Sox, and I think Cleveland's losing at the moment, so maybe they'll still be just a game back of Cleveland. But I mean, these games are important if you still think you're some sort of playoff contender, and he's pulling starters out. He's not even getting. Now we knew they weren't going to come back, like us as fans or observers. I don't even know if I can call myself a Twins fan anymore at this point. Just observers. We knew it was over, but you're a manager of the team. Like you're not supposed to be waving the white flag in like the fifth inning. I mean that is the lack of just pride. Like yeah, you're gonna lose the game, but like you would think, ROCCO. You would like to have ROCCO be like, oh, I don't want this to happen. Like lose, you're probably gonna lose the game, but we don't want to get no hit. We're gonna do everything possible to avoid that embarrassment on national TV, no less. It's on games on Fox. But he is a man with no pride. He's a terror. I've been saying this shit for months. Hell, I've probably been saying it before this year. He's a terrible fucking leader. Absolutely terrible. He goes out there and he yelled at an umpire once or twice, and it duped a couple Twins fans into thinking that he's some sort of fucking leader. He's not a goddamn leader. He's a fucking spreadsheet. He's an empty vessel. And beyond the pulling stars, I could not fucking believe. Bottom of the eighth, he's got Nick Gordon out there pitching to do mop up duty, whatever. He gets rocked. He gives up a grand slam. So Gordon's now hit a grand slam and surrendered a grand slam in the same week. Yeah, I'm guessing that hasn't happened very often. And he goes out there with 2 outs in the eighth. And he makes a change to go from Nick Gordon to Palacios, who they just brought up. What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? One, making a pitching change at all at that point because it's 13 to nothing. He's already got 2 outs. He'll probably get another one eventually. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You're saving his arm? Uh, I'm speechless. Oh, for God's sake. This was just like the intersection of like so many things that just piss me off about this franchise right now. Because beyond like go back to the beginning of the game, they put Malley out there his first start after getting hurt and gets hurt again. The issue was his fastball was down. Guess what? It was down very, very quickly again. So spend most of the game just being pissed off at the fucking joke of a front office because guess what? They've completely botched another trade. This is a terrible trade. Malley sucks. He's probably not. He's hurt. He's damaged goods. He probably won't pitch again this year. And even if he does, he's probably not going to be effective. And we traded a guy. We traded a couple prospects. One of them is already up and playing very well for the Reds. So the front office is a joke. The team is a joke. manager is, I would, I, just the lack of self-awareness on Rocco Baldelli is mind-boggling to me. That he would be pulling starters out of a game in the middle of the game when you're being no hit by a division rival, by the team right behind you in the division. Like no other manager, no other team would ever do that. Like literally giving up in a game. Yeah, us as fans or observers can watch these things and know that they're not going to come back and win. A manager has to do things differently. A manager has to be, hey, you know, we're not giving up. We're going to try to win, especially when it's still just the middle of the game. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, it's highly unlikely, but you can't just do that. You can't do that. It's a humiliating thing for a manager of a baseball team to do in the middle of a playoff race against one of the teams you're fighting for that playoff spot with. And I swear to God, that thing, I've never. Maybe it's happened before where a position player is pitching and you pull him for another position player. Like they showed the visit on the mound. It looked like Palacios was laughing. Like, are you fucking serious? You're doing this to me right now? Like he couldn't fucking believe what was going on. Like I'm disappointed that they didn't get no hit. They deserved the humiliation. Arise doesn't deserve the humiliation. He's one of the few guys on this team who's worth a damn. But this is rock bottom. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say it's rock bottom, because if they don't win the final game of the series, they're going to be on an 8-game losing streak, because guess where they're going? They're going to Yankee Stadium, and I don't give a fuck how bad the Yankees are playing right now. You know goddamn well what's going to happen when the Yankees play the Twins. Same thing that has been happening for 20 fucking years. So if they don't win the final game of the Chicago series, there's your 8-game losing streak, and it's going to be an 8-game losing streak. And that will be it, because guess what? They've gone into Chicago and they've awoken the sleeping giant of the White Sox, who, they were buried. They were getting beat up by the Royals. They were done. And they were done, and we blew the game last night, and they were not even competitive in any facet in this game. Embarrassment. The whole organization should be fucking embarrassed by what was put out on that national TV broadcast tonight. It was insulting to everybody who spends time or money to follow this team. It was absolutely humiliating, embarrassing, inexcusable. I think fireable. I think this was absolutely just the decision making was fireable for Rocco Baldelli, and we'll deal with the front office. They deserve to get thrown out on their asses too for this Malley trade, and the disaster of the Lopez trade that hasn't worked out. There's still nobody coming from the minors. Like that, there's nothing. This team has no chance with this leadership. And I say leadership with quotation marks, because they do not have leadership. And that was proven again tonight with what Rocco Baldelli did. Like, there's no way any of the veteran players, or even some of the younger players on that team, can possibly respect Rocco Baldelli after that horse shit that he did tonight. It's like, you were going to lose the game anyway. Cease was on. Like, whatever. But you quit on a game in the middle of the game in a playoff race. Absolutely inexcusable. Rocco Baldelli should be fired tonight. He won't be. I harbor no delusions that Rocco Baldelli will be fired today, tomorrow, even at the end of the season. No matter how bad the rest of the season is, the front office will not be fired. They're going to use the injuries as an excuse to run this fucking clown show back. But it's not going to get any better, because these are terrible decision makers and leaders, and they don't learn, and they only get worse. And I've never seen anything like what I saw in this game tonight. And the entire Twins organization from top to bottom should be completely fucking embarrassed by what happened in this game and some of the things that happened during the game to get them to that point. But they're not embarrassed. They're not going to be embarrassed because they have no shame. I'm sure Rocco Baldelli's already had a post-game press conference where he's said a bunch of bullshit and been asked zero difficult questions because, who's going to ask him tough questions? And the Rocco cult will defend him because he yelled at an umpire a couple times now recently. So I guess he's a leader. No, he's not. He's mimicking. It's like a fucking space alien who's trying to mimic human behavior. He's trying to mimic, what he thinks people think is a good manager and a good leader. But it just never fucking stops. I could go on and on. And I've already made Twins videos during the season that have been me just ranting about how much I fucking hate Rocco, and I do, and I've never hated him more than I hate him in this moment, because that was absolute humiliation tonight. And, well, I've said all I need to say. Fuck Rocco. Fire his ass down.